The rain was relentless that night. Not the kind that soothes, but the kind that punishes. It crashed against the windows of the small, dimly lit apartment, where a woman sat on the floor clutching a crumpled letter in her trembling hands. Her name was Clara Reeves, and the words before her had shattered whatever strength she had left. Her husband of 10 years, the man she once believed was her forever, had written only 12 words before vanishing from her life. "I can't do this anymore. Don't look for me. I'm sorry." The paper fell from her hands, landing beside the framed wedding photo that had somehow managed to stay upright on the table. Outside, thunder roared. Inside, silence screamed louder. CTA1! Before we dive deeper into Clara's unforgettable journey, don't forget to like this video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to Whispers of Kindness for more real, heart-touching stories that restore faith in humanity. Clara's world had collapsed overnight. Her husband, Mark, had left her with debts, a half-empty home, and a heart that refused to beat the same way again. For weeks, she barely slept, moving through her days like a ghost, a teacher by day, a broken soul by night. But one evening, while driving home from her night shift at the local diner, she saw something that would change the course of her life forever. At a bus stop, under the same rain that once mirrored her pain, 3 small figures huddled together, soaked, shivering, and silent. The eldest, maybe 13, held the younger 2 close, their faces hidden beneath tattered blankets. Clara slowed her car, her teacher's instinct taking over. She rolled down the window. "Are you kids all right?" she asked softly. The eldest boy looked up, wary, protective. "We're fine, ma'am, just waiting for the bus." Clara knew that tone too well, the kind that hides hunger behind pride. She parked the car, got out, and offered them a warm drink from her thermos. When she extended her hand, the youngest, a little girl with curly brown hair, reached for it without hesitation. That small gesture pierced Clara's heart in a way she couldn't explain. Within an hour, she had them wrapped in blankets at her apartment, feeding them warm soup. Their names were Ethan, Liam, and Maya, or so they said. They didn't talk much that night. They ate quietly, as if afraid the food might disappear. Clara didn't pry. She just said, "You can stay here tonight. Tomorrow we'll figure things out." But tomorrow never came, at least not in the way she expected. Days turned into weeks. The kids began to open up cautiously. Ethan, the oldest, was fiercely protective, always watching over his siblings. Liam, the middle one, had a spark, mischievous but kind. And little Maya, she was pure light. Every time she laughed, it felt like the first sunshine after years of storm. Clara found herself smiling again, something she hadn't done since Mark left. Her apartment, once cold and empty, now echoed with laughter, spilled cereal, and stories told under the blanket fort they built in the living room. She began the adoption process, though it wasn't easy. The authorities were skeptical. "You're a single woman, recently divorced, with limited income," they told her. But Clara refused to give up. She worked extra hours, picked up tutoring jobs, and attended every court hearing with the children by her side. When the judge finally signed the papers months later, Clara wept openly. She had no idea that in adopting these 3 children, she was also inheriting a story bigger than anything she could have ever imagined. Years passed and life found rhythm again. Clara's little family grew together, bound not by blood but by love that ran deeper. Ethan got into high school on a scholarship. Liam became obsessed with fixing old electronics, and Maya dreamed of becoming a doctor. They didn't have much, but they had each other. And to Clara, that was more than enough. Until one spring morning, a black car pulled up outside their modest home. 2 men stepped out, wearing tailored suits. Clara thought they were from the bank at first, but when they introduced themselves as lawyers from Bennett and Gray Associates, she felt her stomach twist. "We're looking for Ethan, Liam, and Maya Westwood," one of them said, holding a file. Clara froze. "Their last name is Reeves," she replied cautiously. The lawyer smiled gently. "It was, but they were born Westwood. Their biological parents were Jonathan and Amelia Westwood, the late founders of Westwood Enterprises." The name hit her like a thunderclap. Everyone in town knew the Westwoods, a billionaire couple who had tragically died in a private plane crash years ago, leaving no known heirs. Clara's hands trembled as she turned toward the kids who stood frozen in the doorway. Ethan's eyes widened, tears welling up. "You mean, we had parents?" he whispered. "Yes," the lawyer said softly. "And you three are their rightful heirs, to an estate worth over $60 million. The room went silent. For a moment, no one breathed. Clara's mind swirled. Heirs? Millions? None of it mattered. All she could see were the frightened children she had taken in, the ones who had healed her broken heart. Ethan turned to her, eyes full of conflict. "Does this mean we have to leave?" Clara knelt down, tears glistening. "That's your choice, sweetheart. You deserve to know where you came from." But what happened next was something she never expected. Ethan looked at his siblings, then back at Clara. "We know where we came from, but this," he pointed to her, "this is home." Maya ran into her arms. Liam followed. They held her as if afraid she'd disappear. The lawyers waited respectfully, then quietly said, "Mrs. Reeves, the inheritance is legally theirs, but they've made it clear they want you involved in everything." Over the next months, life became a whirlwind. Reporters, cameras, papers, all chasing the story of the billionaire orphans found alive. But behind all the headlines was a woman who refused to let greed or fame tear apart the love that had held them together when they had nothing. Clara became their legal guardian, helping them navigate their new life with humility. Instead of mansions or yachts, they invested in schools, shelters, and orphanages. "We know what it feels like to have no one," Ethan told the media one day. "Now we want to make sure no one else does." And though their lives changed in ways they never dreamed possible, Clara remained the same, humble, loving, and grateful. One evening, years later, as they sat on the porch watching the sunset from their countryside home, Maya whispered, "Mom, do you ever wish you hadn't stopped that night in the rain?" Clara smiled, her eyes glistening. "If I hadn't stopped, I'd still be lost, just like I was before I met you three. You didn't just need saving, I did too." They sat in silence, hearts full, as the last light of day bathed them in gold.